Hi there and welcome to Perspective. I'm Monique Caradine Kitchens. So we all know that the job market these days is tough enough as it is, even if you're highly experienced and even if you have multiple degrees. But imagine how tough it can be if you have a criminal past. In that case, finding a job can be close to impossible. So what do you do? Well, today on Perspective, we're talking about how to overcome a troubled past to create a prosperous future. So if you or someone you know is in this situation, today's show will definitely give you some tips. You may even want to take some notes. My first guests are Jimmie and Tiffany Williams. They were teen parents, and Jimmie has had several run-ins with the law. But today, they've managed to overcome all those challenges by taking full control of their lives, and they're sharing their story here today on Perspective for the first time ever. Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I feel special. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So, Tiffany, you had a baby at what age?
At age 17.
At age 17.
Yeah.
So certainly that was right around junior, senior year. That probably put a dent in some things, right?
It did. I was a senior at the time, and I actually had to stay out of school for a while, but I had homeschooling. So fortunately, I was able to graduate on time. And then I went on to beauty college afterwards.
Mm-hmm. So what was that like for you being a parent at 17? What kind of adjustments did you have to make?
Life-changing,
yes.
Total life-changing adjustments. It was difficult. I had my mom, there, and my sister, aunts to help me, but it was difficult. Just transitioning from just being single, a child. I was pretty much a child,
right, basically.
And having to grow up and mature a lot sooner than I thought.
All of a sudden, you're an adult, and Jimmie, I mean, you're a father at that point.
Yes.
And a couple, at that point, that was the second child, I believe.
Yes, it was.
So, what was that like for you? I mean, did you have a job at that point? Were you in school, or what was your situation?
Well, no, I didn't have a job, and I didn't have a job. It was kind of hard getting a job at that point in time because I had just got my first felony. So me having my first felony and trying to go out looking for a job, it was pretty much just like having 5 or 6 felonies. Having your first felony at a young age is X on your back, and it pretty much carries you, it pretty much follows you for the rest of your life. So that being said, what I wanted to do is to just start further in my education and start seeing what I can do to try to help me get a better job and put my family in a better position so we can.
But did it take you a while to get to that point? Because you had, as we said in the intro, a couple of run-ins with the law, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely. It took me years. It took
How
me
many years?
And I would say probably about 6 or 7 years at one time, and then I worked for my uncle, and then we ended up getting laid off, so I found myself back in the street because on how hard it was to re-find a job again, because other than knowing someone, it's extremely hard to find a job, especially with a criminal history.
So certainly, a big challenge there. And so here you are with a criminal background. You're a father. You have mouths to feed, and you can't really do that successfully and consistently. So that certainly has to have an impact on your overall self-esteem, right?
Definitely.
And does that make you go out and continue to do the things that led you into?
Yes, it definitely feeds the mentality to the point to where, excuse me, it definitely feeds the mentality to the point to where you feel as though you only have one way to go, and that's back to, the streets, so to speak. And it took a lot of growing up in order for me to realize that the only way that is going to change if I start within myself. And once I started within myself, we start thinking on how we can start our own.
Did you ever at any point, Tiffany, think that, I mean, you're seeing him go back and forth to jail.
Yes.
Did you ever say, listen, how am I going to deal with this? I have this child. I have to have some stability here to raise this child.
Yes,
what
I
were
was
you
a
thinking?
single parent. I mean, we were back and forth, together and then apart. So I was really a single parent, and I just had to do what I had to do to survive.
And so what did you do? I mean, did you ever give up on him? Was he around for the baby? I mean, what was that? I just want to paint the picture because I think where you all are now is so tremendous.
Yes, it was inconsistent, but he was always there, always loved the kids. But I was a hairstylist. I went to school for hair, so I've always,
Always been a
had
kind
some
of,
type of work. When we met, I was working at Sears
Yeah.
at 16, so I've always been kind of a go-getter, just pretty much independent.
right, right. Okay, so let's take a break,
Yes.
and then when we come back, we're going to fast forward
Okay.
and take a look at life today and how you turn that situation around of, having a criminal past and so much trouble finding a job.
Exactly.
And we'll give people some insight on what you all are doing today.
Great.
All right, great. When we come back, Jimmie and Tiffany share their secrets to creating the life they have today despite the past. Stay with us. Jimmie and Tiffany Williams overcame a difficult past to create a prosperous future, and they're sharing their story with us for the first time here on Perspective. So, Jimmie, back and forth, in and out of jail, you finally get to a point, right, where you say, okay, there's no job coming my way. Everybody they kill me. They keep talking about, we got to get ex-felons and ex-cons back into the workforce. You like, it's not happening.
It's not.
So what did you do? What did you say to yourself to make you take the step where you are today?
Well, one of our main things was that after seeing that all of these obstacles that I constantly kept running into trying to find employment to, help put food on the table for my family, the conclusion me and my wife came to as a family was collectively that we together need to put an idea together that we can start our own business and help others that's in that same position that you are. So that's when we came up with the
lawn care thing.
lawn care.
But did it ever occur to you that with your background and your history that you could even start a business?
Actually, we were kind of nervous going in, and we just traveled by faith, and thank God, and it just showed us that we just constantly kept getting blessed.
I'm really glad that you had that mindset, because a lot of people don't, for the same reason I just said before. Everybody says, get a job, get a job, get a job. And it never really occurs to people, well, maybe, nobody's hiring me. Maybe I can take those same skills that I would offer to a job and start my own thing. And so that's what you did. So, Tiffany, take us step by step. I got folks out here taking notes now.
Okay.
So take us step by step through the stages of actually getting started.
Well, what we did, first of all, it was one of my clients that was sitting in a chair, and she asked if did I know anyone who wanted to purchase a vehicle. And at that point, I was like, yes, we would like to purchase. It was a pickup truck. And we said, well, we'll put a plow on the truck and then just go ahead and go out there and remove some snow in the wintertime.
So were you already talking about purchasing a vehicle at that point? You just,
We had
it
already
just
had
happened.
vehicles, yeah.
Okay.
It just happened.
Moment.
This was the first
Really?
pickup truck, though. So what we did was we made up some business cards, and Jimmie and our children went out on foot, and they just went door to door passing out flyers, and we got our fax number set up and our business number set up in our home. We just had like a small...
Started out as a home business.
So you just said we're going to start removing snow to start things out.
Yes, because it was towards the wintertime.
And how did that go?
It went well. It went well.
Great.
We took our profits for that season, and for the next season in April, we incorporated and started the lawn care landscape.
What kind of help did you get just on the business coaching consulting side? Did you go to small business associations or anything like that?
Yes, actually the Chicago State Small Business Development Center actually has been one of our major influences, because they also introduced us to the Institute for Justice Clinic at the University of Chicago, and they have been helping us along, and SCORE. And there's a lot of other free programs out there that help just about anybody.
Yeah. So you did the first year of snow removal. The next year you incorporated, you started doing lawn care.
Yes.
Residential, commercial, what were you doing?
Well, we were focused, when we first started out, we started out trying to focus on residential and anything which would come.
Sure.
So once we saw the levels of competition out there, we had to reevaluate what we were doing, and we had to find a niche within the market. So that's when we came up with, condo associations or multi-unit properties, because they are everywhere and they're constantly building throughout the city of Chicago.
Absolutely.
And that was one of our major things.
So you had to invest in, equipment.
Yes.
big
Definitely.
lawnmowers and whatnot to get the job done.
Yes, definitely.
And you've been in business now for how long?
4 years.
And going to have to let you go. Talk about the work that you're doing with other people who have criminal past to help them move into the same mindset that you all thankfully have.
Well, that's one of our main goals, is to help people not only get a job but obtain a skill here with Just Us Lawn Care that can help them further their education throughout the rest of their life, and also start a business, not just being a company man at Just Us Incorporated, but starting a company from Just Us with the skills that they've learned and obtained from the managerial aspects of our company and out there in the field hands-on.
So you actually creating other companies under the Just Us umbrella, so to speak.
Definitely.
Oh, that is so brilliant.
Yeah,
That is so brilliant.
And by them being ex-felons, just helping them transition, you know, into life with the skills of saving money, financial planning, taking, you know, when you get your, when you receive your paycheck, allocate that money into different areas. Child support, a lot of them have issues with child support. So,
well, that's all the time we have, but the moral of the story is anybody can change, and even if you have a troubled past, you can create a prosperous future, and you all are perfect examples of that. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us.
JustUsLawnCare.com. All right, inspiring.